Morning, everybody. What's going on? KSA Kris here, Real Estate Blitz. Just want to come to you real quick to give you some quick videos. I'm going to do a couple today, and the first one I'm going to talk about is I had somebody call me yesterday. Okay, great. I saw your investor video. How do I find them? Great question. You know, it really comes down to what are you trying to accomplish. So this is what I know to be truth. Real estate agents are always going to come up on a property that is distressed. What is distress? Distress can be probate. So there's death in the family. Distress can be I've dealt with this. You know, people that are collectors or hoarders, people that have basically, you know, they're just old. Old is a distress. Being extremely old can actually create some serious problems. And I bought a couple properties myself where, you know, the person hadn't lived in the house for a while. They were in a facility, and HOA finally caught up with them, and the family's just trying to offload the property. So there's a lot of different things that could be considered distress. If you want a list of that, hit me up. I'll give you a whole list of distress type things to look for. But the truth is, real estate agents are always going to come up on those properties. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is A, how to find real estate investors when you have a distressed deal. B, how you can basically turn that deal into different concepts and ideas of how to turn that property. So instead of the traditional real estate agent, so these people are already in a tough situation, it's already tight, you know, they're already struggling. Instead of trying to maximize the value of that specific home, why not try to maximize a turnkey home with the real estate investor? So I'll talk a little bit about that, and then maybe if I have enough time, I might go into a third. So first, how do you find real estate investors? Here's the truth, and it's funny. I remember when I first started in, you know, wholesaling and stuff like that, and this was some years ago. I really came up with all these great ideas, and this is how you find investors. And then I ran into a guy, and he told me this truth. It didn't make sense at the time, but I'm here to tell you it is 100% true. If you have a deal, you can find an investor. The challenge is sometimes that you think you have a deal. Just because the house looks like crap doesn't mean that you have a deal. Just because you think the house is cheap, it doesn't mean you have a deal. What you need to learn is investor-based math. Now, I think I might do a video just on that here in the future. But to give you very basic concepts of investor-based math, you have two different ways of looking at it. I'll tell you how I purchase, but first I'll tell you how most people purchase from what's called ARV, the after repair value, right? ARV, you're looking at, you want to get the house from ARV around, the home run deal is 50 to 60 cents on the dollar, 50 to 60 cents on the dollar from ARV. So whatever the maximum price is for that home, if it was in a turnkey condition. Now, keep this in mind. Turnkey condition, in your mind, right now you're thinking of HGTV. That doesn't always mean turnkey condition. I got an investor. He only renovates and flips in Blythe. I've sold him a couple properties out in Blythe. Right? Blythe is Blythe. If you don't know, if you're like, I had somebody call me yesterday watching the videos from Florida. If you're in Florida and you don't know where Blythe is, just Google it. Like, you'll see an armpit, and then at the center of that armpit is Blythe. Right? It is. I think New Jersey's in the other armpit. It doesn't matter, but Blythe is in there. And if you're in New Jersey, I'm sorry, I was sort of joking. So Blythe is not like a great place. So granite countertops is not a turnkey home. What is the expectation for that area? The expectation is for mica. And that's perfectly good. So why would you put in extra money? You have to. So you have to look at what is the top comps, top values, what's the best looking homes in that area, and what would that be? Excuse me, what's the value of the home at that point? So that's your ARV. From ARV, a home run deal is 50 to 60 cents on the dollar. Depending on the type of market you're in, right, San Diego, you can go 70 cents. You can go to 80 cents on the dollar. Sometimes you can go to more. It just depends on kind of the investor's stress points. And then you want a less repair. So basically, if it's a $100,000 home at ARV and I want a home run deal, I'm going to purchase the home at 50, let's say I got it at $60,000, less repair. It needs $10,000 worth of repair work. So I need to buy the house at $50,000. Does that make sense? That's extremely basic, like literally just in a couple minutes I threw that together. So don't get too wrapped up on that. To go a little bit deeper on that, less repairs, $10,000 down to $50,000. I sold you to ARV. That's from ARV. Now let's talk about from how I purchase properties. I purchase them from their as-is condition. Okay, When I walk in to look at a home, it's worth what it's worth. So I'm looking at a house, the ARV is $100,000, but in its as-is condition, it's worth maybe like $60,000 in its as-is condition. Now, considering that I'm going to purchase the home, and when I say you got to keep this in mind. I'm talking from an investor's perspective. So if you're trying to find an investor and you're trying to sell a property to an investor, you need to think this way. Considering that the investor, or I, am going to purchase the home in its as-is condition, I'm going to take it with no contingencies. I'm going to close on the day of their choosing. The person that's selling the home, I'll close on the day of their choosing. I'm going to be paying in cash. I'm not going to, I'm going to cover all of the closing costs. And if it's off market, there's no realtor fees that are going to be involved. So if you take out all that math, and if you're a real estate agent, you're watching this, you know how that works out. So let's say that 6% commission. Here, I'm going to pull out my phone. 6% commission. So let's just say when it's all said and done, it's roughly 8%. So I'm buying it in its as-is condition. It's worth $60,000 on the open market minus 8%. So that means it's really worth about $55,200. So that's where I would want to purchase the home from its as-is condition. And honestly, I would like to get it, and that's if I was purchasing it at its full value. Ideally, I still want to get it at 50 to 60 cents on the dollar from its as-is condition. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit different. So if it's worth $60,000, I'm going to take off, $60,000 times 0.6 equals, so really $36,000 is what I would be looking to purchase that home for. Now that's a different hustle. What that is that's talking about if you were looking to wholesale a property, and again, I'm using very low numbers, $100,000 property. I'm not getting too deep into that one. So now that you have the deal, you've qualified the deal, you can list that property. I just told you what the as-is condition is. The as-is condition is $60,000. You can list the property. They're going to get $55,000. Or you can find an investor that is going to pay you cash right now, $50,000. Or if you're going to wholesale it, you lock it up at $50,000. You sell it for $55,000 to the investor, and then you turn around and list it when it's 100% turnkey at $100,000. You see what I mean? So there's ways of making money throughout that process, and you can also help people get those properties. So the number one was, how do we find an investor? If you have a deal, it is extremely easy to find an investor. I have said this over and over and over and over and over. If you're interested in investing, if you're a real estate agent, even if you don't want to be an investor, but you want to get around investors, the first thing you need to do is jump on the Google machine and type in real estate investor club, real estate investor meeting, and your area. So I'm in San Diego, real estate investor meeting San Diego. Enter. It will come up with a whole list of real estate investor clubs and meetings in your area. You need to go to these meetings, folks. You need to go to these meetings. You're going to meet great people. You're going to meet investors. You're going to gain relationships. You're going to network. You're going to hear stuff that's going to change your mind. And I've said it multiple times. Real estate agents think they really understand the business because they've been in the business for so damn long. But let me tell you, a very good wholesaler, a guy that doesn't have a real estate license or anything else, knows more than you. I guarantee it. They know more. They have to know more than you. They have to know more than you to go and talk to somebody and buy their house at 50 to 60 cents on the dollar, put it in escrow, get it off markets. They're either going to double end it or double close, do a double close, or they're going to sign the contract, or they're going to wholesale it, or they're going to renovate and sell it, and they understand the money. They understand all this stuff. Most agents don't. Your basic wholesaler is usually smarter than 90+% of the agents that are out there. They're consuming way more information than you. They're actually educating themselves. They're in the halls. They're meeting people that are doing it. They're meeting people that are successful. Most real estate agents, when they meet other real estate agents, all they're concerned about is trying to get a referral if they're from a different area, but they're never really sharing how to get stuff done. They'll talk about stuff, but they're not actually giving out trade secrets and saying, let's make money together, because real estate agents don't really make money together. So why should they? It's a different ball game. So number one, you have to get in the investor meetings. You got to. Two, you got to jump on Facebook, man. There's so many amazing Facebook groups for real estate investors. They're everywhere. Same thing. You can type in real estate investor San Diego, and like a ton of stuff will pop up. I would also say the number one spot for me that I always go to is, I've said it before on one of my other ones, wholesaling houses full time. It's a Facebook group that was put together by Alex Youngblood. There's like 30,000+ people on there. It's mostly for wholesalers that are either asking for education, asking questions, talking about scenarios, or posting up their wholesale deals for people to purchase and buy. Okay, now let's get fancy. You're a real estate agent. You have more power than you realize. And I say this all the time. Real estate agents literally have it teed up. All you got to do is swing, baby. So this is what you need to do. Look in the area where this house is. I guarantee it, if you start researching homes, look for cash deals. Start typing into the MLS and look up other cash deals. And start looking at who's buying all those cash deals. Who's buying those properties. You're going to find out that there's a trend. You're going to start seeing the people that are purchasing all these cash deals. And in the beginning, that's what I did. And I just started reaching out to them. I started trying to call them. I started looking them up online. I started sending them letters. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. Or at the time, hey, I'm a wholesaler. I got properties. If you're a real estate agent, they would absolutely... Let me tell you, most investors, they want to talk to real estate agents. They want to get to know you. But they just, when it comes to wholesalers, they don't always want to deal with a wholesaler. They don't always want to talk to a wholesaler. If you're a real estate agent, you reach out to them and say, hey, I got properties. I have stuff come in. I'm looking for investors to work with. I'm looking for somebody that I can bring this property to that will purchase the home in 10 to 14 days. They're going to close in cash. You're going to take it in its as-is condition. You're going to get people just blowing up your phone. Your phone is going to melt. Okay? So that's another one. Jump on your local area and start looking around to find out where all of those other cash deals are. So let's go back. 1, get into club meetings. Get into investor meetings in your local area. 2, jump on Facebook. Check out wholesaling houses full-time and also look for other investment groups in your area. 3, jump on your MLS and start looking for all the cash sales that have taken place in that area where the house is or in your area. And start reaching out to those people and making contact with them, okay? And then the very last one, 4. This is, I think investors get it, but agents just don't, because agents don't know what they don't know. There's a really cool website. It's called biggerpockets.com. I've mentioned it before on other videos. I really don't like broadcasting other people's stuff if they aren't paying me or something. However, Bigger Pockets is fantastic and they deserve to be talked about. BiggerPockets.com is probably one of the most put together platforms for real estate investors nationwide, where you can go out and you can educate yourself, you can meet people in your area, you can post up the deals that you have for sale to investors in your area. I mean, what else do you want? That's like the trifecta. So you need to go out and check out Bigger Pockets. So that's what I got today. Since people kept calling me and asking me, how do I find an investor if I got a deal? That's how you find an investor if you got a deal. What I probably need to do is sit down and do another one that talks about just investor math, because the reality is you got to have a deal before you can actually deal with that stuff. Find the investor, but if you don't have a deal, you're going to hurt your reputation. I can't express that enough. You start passing out garbage deals to investors, they'll stop reacting to you. If you pass good deals to them, they will be begging you. Hey man, what's going on? Bob, what's happening, Bob? Hey, you got any deals? You got anything coming up? You know anybody that does? Hey Bob, you got, or Sharon, hey, you got any more deals for me? If you send them garbage deals because you don't know how the math works, you don't know how to qualify that deal for your investor, they'll stop answering the phone. What's beautiful, I use this beautiful thing right here. I can send a text off when I come up on something. I send a text. I have a system. Everybody's in a rotation. The first investor that's next in that rotation, he gets first crack at the deal that I have that just came in. He has less than 24 hours. And most of the guys know you have about an hour with me. If you don't reply with either I'm in or I need X amount of time or something, no more than 24 hours. I open it up to 3 people. And then it's first come, first serve. After those 3 people, I give them 3 hours to say yes. After that, I open it up to all my investors by text. I can usually have a house sold that's an investor. If it's an investor deal, I can usually have it sold within a half hour. And maybe another video I'll talk about rules. I have certain rules. If you say yes and you want it, you have to close. If you do not close on that property, I will never work with you again. I will never give you another deal. The reason why, a lot of investors, what they're doing right now, because the inventory is tight, they're just writing ridiculous offers to get accepted, just extremely sky high, and then they're trying to back off the price to where they really know they should have purchased it to begin with. So they're taking you and running you through the ringer. They're taking you and putting you in front of the client that you talked to that had trust in you and making you look like an ass. So I don't do that. I say, look, you know your price, you know what you can afford, you know what you, and I did my math. Come in, this is what we're looking for. It's either a yes or a no. If you say yes, then you need to be in. If you say yes, you have to close. If you don't ever call me again. There are a ton of investors, and there's so many investors out there after you start searching for them and after you start having inventory and after you've had success. There are so many investors out there that are looking for great real estate agents. It's like a lenders. There's lenders. I got lenders coming out of my ears. They're everywhere, and it's like, whoa, this lender's really good. There's a ton of great lenders, and let me tell you something. There's plenty. They all want your business. Investors are the same way. They just don't know you. They haven't experienced you. They haven't met you yet. You need to stop being a secret agent and get out there and talk to them. You got to expose yourself. You got to go out there and meet some people. Get paid. Investors are fantastic. So anyways, hey, that's what I got. If you got any questions, hit me up. As always, I'm going to have my podcast up officially, I think, in 2 weeks. I had my meeting this morning about it on the phone. I got all my equipment. It's on the other side over here. I got some great people I'm going to be bringing on. It's going to be a mix of investors that are just like, you're talking about some of the biggest in the industry that are good friends of mine, to teach you as real estate agents, right? And then I'm also going to be bringing on some successful real estate agents that I know that are building teams or have built teams. Oh my goodness, excuse me, I have my... Somebody criticized me and they're like, you shouldn't drink that while you're talking because you're just burping the whole time. Sorry. I'm going to be bringing on some successful agents, and I'm also going to be bringing in some different unique spins, whether it's affiliates, but different types of affiliates. 1031 exchanges. If you aren't trying to make money with a 1031 exchange program, we got to spin you up. So we'll self-directed IRAs, 401ks, how to leverage people's money to purchase investment property through you, the real estate agent. You're going to educate them on how to go out and purchase more properties to make themselves wealthier so they can keep buying stuff from you every year. See what I mean? Start building in your own closing business. But that's all I got. KSA Kris, as always, appreciate you. Do me a favor, like, share, comment. Check out my YouTube page if you're finding this on Facebook, and if you're on Facebook, check out my YouTube page. There we go. You know what I meant. Back and forth. YouTube, Facebook. Go check them both out. Pretty soon we'll be on iTunes. When that pops up, I'll let you know. I'd love to have everybody jump on there and hit me up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. If you have any questions or something you want to talk about, just hit me up. Have a good one. Bye.